This video is primarily about three things. One, it's about the frustrations of travel days. Our travel days normally are not like this, but we did have a frustrating one. Two, it's a classic example of why we don't do any filming inside the truck. Three, it's my first attempt at editing video to kind of offload some of that work from Maria. In each one of these video segments, and I took the worst of a 4-hour trip. Most of them are well within our ability to control, from lack of planning to not double checking things. Anyway, all of those things added up and created, kind of a rough day. We don't have any control over traffic. Traffic's going to be what traffic's going to be. All of this footage is from dash cam because we don't film in the truck. So it's single point of view. I hope it's not boring. I would really love to hear y'all's take on some of these things and some of the frustrations that y'all go through. Put in the comments how your travel days go, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you'd like to.
We had a normal pack up. Everything went fine. I always do a walk around. Maria puts the address in the GPS. I check the brake lights, the tail lights, the turn signals, but I never thought up to check the running lights, and that is an important thing that I need y'all to remember through the rest of this video. When we made this left right here, that's when I realized I couldn't see the top marker light on the fifth wheel. They weren't working at all. And those that know me know this is an issue, and it's going to ruin the rest of my day. So we hop off the interstate. I verify the 7-way didn't come unplugged, and I also check along to make sure that the brake lights are still working, the turn signals are working, and that everything is good to go. So all of that checks out. We decide to get back on the road, and so normally this is where Maria and I would have our funny chats about what was going on and everything else, but I can't focus on anything except what's causing the lights not to work at this point. So anyway, we merge back onto the interstate, get up to speed, doing the actual speed limit, and get past. This in itself isn't an issue except for the fact that I didn't notice the car coming up. I need to pay better attention. So I'm having an internal struggle, and honestly, at this point, I'm failing at all three of them. We go through some more construction. The cones are too close together, so Maria swears I hit one with the back of the fifth wheel, and so now I've got that on my mind as well. Again, if we get past again, if we're going too slow, we come up on another rest stop. I decide we're going to pull over, and I'm going to check the fifth wheel to make sure I didn't do any damage if I did hit a cone or whatnot. I'm also going to check the lights again. I checked the 7-way on the truck. It's sending power to the plug. I've been and cleaned the contacts, and it's just not working. So it's at that point we realize we need fuel. We get off the interstate again. We pull into a Love's. $20 minutes later, and a bathroom break and $120. We're back on the road, and hopefully we're going to get back on track with where we're supposed to be. I will tell you the acceleration of the Ram is just awesome. It's with the new transmission, it has no problem getting up to speed. So a couple miles down the road, we've run into this car hauler here, and of course we moved left to make room for him, and this guy just hammers it and won't back off or let me over. So 2 hours later, he finally passes us after hanging out on our back quarter panel for a while. At this point in the footage, I realized Garmin and I researched 2 different routes for this trip, and I'm lost flying blind, only to trust Garmin. Now, normally this is not a big deal for most people, but for me, it's pure terror. My brain is being overloaded trying to figure out and adjust what's going on, and honestly, my attitude is just piss poor at this point. These exits are coming up so quick. Garmin's like 3 seconds before each one of the things comes up. If you notice here, it says right lane ends. I missed that. Of course, I get over in the right-hand lane, so I'm in the wrong lane. We have to merge over, and then I merge in and find out that, it's an exit only, so we've got to get over one more lane. Garmin is being no help at this point, and I'm of no help because I don't even know where we're at. I don't know what road we're on or anything. This was probably my favorite of the day. This guy came up and just paced us on the right-hand side. Maria sees it and she sounds the alarm, and unbeknownst to her, I'm watching the car, I'm watching all the mirrors, I'm wondering why the lights don't work, where we can pull over to check the route, and trying to get Maria to calm back down. So we make the merge onto the interstate. I'm trying to get over one more lane, and nobody will let us over. And then this sign pops up. What the hell? We just came from Dayton, and now we're again in the wrong lane. At this point, we crossed just an absolutely horrible bridge, and I resign myself just to be along for the ride because there's really nothing I can do at this point. And then we cross into West Virginia. Well, unbeknownst to us, we weren't expecting to go into West Virginia. Now, what happened is we just didn't realize that there was a sliver of West Virginia that splits Ohio and Pennsylvania. So while Maria's checking on that, we run up on the tail end of this guy here in the right-hand lane, doing 45 in a 65-mile-an-hour zone. And of course, everybody thinks it's my fault and won't let me over because they think I'm holding. So we eventually get around this guy, and we're heading on down the road for our next encounter with frustration and irritation during this, what was supposed to be a 4-hour trip. No travel day is complete without rain, and this wasn't a good rain. It was just enough to mess the windshield up, and we really couldn't even clean the windshield off. So here we are getting off. I don't even know what it is. I don't know if it's a highway, an interstate, whatever road we were on, we were getting off. We come up to a roundabout to pull into a pilot. We want to check the route and use the bathroom and some other things. So I love roundabouts in the fifth wheel. They're easy. We pull into the pilot and we go to the far pump, so that we're not blocking any traffic or blocking anybody from using an actual pump. So we pull out of the pilot, which was fairly easy for as busy as the road as it was. We run up, hit the roundabout, and we celebrate that we're 30 miles away from the park. And yeah, that's what we honestly thought. So wait until you see what happens next. It's a doozy. We get caught in traffic. which, there's really nothing you can do about. The people on the right-hand lane, there was a lane closure sign, but they just ignored it like everybody else, and everybody was wanting over. So we let this guy in this silver Ford pull over, which he was nice enough and actually gave us a hand wave for letting us in. And I feel kind of bad for people that are pulling long trailers, because I know, sometimes, I miss things and, I need to get over. So we always try to let people that are hauling things over, we try and let 18-wheelers over. But there didn't seem to be a reason for this traffic jam until we get a little piece up the road here. And then I have no clue what caused all this, but it was just a mess. So we get up here and there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 different vehicles there. One of them turned the wrong way. They've got, I don't know what happened. We clear that wreck that is a little bit of a traffic backlog, and we run up and we hit this next construction area, which they brought it down to 1 lane. And I swear that thing couldn't have been 8 feet 2 inches wide. They had actually ripped up the roads on both sides and were completely replacing them. Traffic flowed, really well through the traffic area, and we didn't have any more problems until we cleared this, and then we had a problem. So spoiler alert, going back all the way to the beginning of the day, Maria didn't have cell signal when she was setting up the GPS, so she put in what she thought was the campground address in the Garmin. Garmin is not like Windows. It didn't ask 4 times if she was sure that was the address she wanted to go to, and this is information that neither one of us realized until it was too late. So I don't remember what downtown area we're in, but we're in an area where you're not supposed to be making left or right hand turns if you have 3 or more axles. This road right here, you can't really see it, but it's pretty steep. I had to use the exhaust brake to get down it. Now, if we had been smart, we would have pulled over and stayed and parked in one of these empty parking spaces down along the road here, but we absolutely did not do that, and to our own detriment, because we make this left-hand turn right here, and we're just getting deeper and deeper into the city. This is a very steep incline. There's a red light at the end of that. I actually cut the footage because we got stuck on that incline, and when it turned green, we started going through. So we made it through this 4-way intersection, and the next thing we come up on is just a massive tunnel, and this is like being ground from corn into flour. It's just getting worse and worse. We're getting knee deep into something that we have no clue what we're getting into. So we make this turn right here. Thank goodness we are using Garmin, because the bridge is tall enough. But we pull up to this, and it's got to be a 5 or a 6-way intersection. There's lights everywhere. Well, Garmin at this point right here says you need to make a left-hand turn. The white car won't let me over and skirts across. We finally make the left-hand turn when it gets clear. And we think that we're in the good because we're like maybe a mile from the campground. So we make a right here. And the campground is supposed to be up here on the left. And if you'll notice up here on the left in the tree line, you'll actually see a 5th wheel. So we're just ecstatic that we've made it. Our travel day is over. There's the 5th wheel. So we pull up to this, and there's a delivery vehicle that's going to come out. Not a big deal. It's not uncommon for delivery vehicles to be leaving a campground. So we wait for him to I can see him up there on the hill coming down, and there's not room for both of us to be in that space at the same time. So we let him pull out. We make this left-hand turn right here. And you guys can't hear it in the audio, but we drug the back bumper. We get up there, and what the hell? It's not a campground, y'all. It's somebody's frickin' front yard. We pulled into their driveway. So at this point, I get out and I go talk to the owner, explain to him what happened. He's like, yeah, we have this pretty common. You put in the wrong address, and so let me help you get turned around. So I have to back the fifth wheel parallel with that house right there and hang the tail end about 4 feet over that cliff. We end up backing it up. I have to jackknife the thing, past 90 degrees to clear the basketball goal. Anyway, we get it turned around. We get headed back down the hill, and honestly, we're kind of happy at this point. I mean, that was a major feat for us. Then we realize all the gouges in the concrete down here, and off to the right, you can see our latest contribution to the concrete, where we took chunks out. So I go really, really slow, trying to avoid dragging again, making this right-hand turn. And I know that once we get out, we've got to make a left-hand turn, and we've already been through all of that. So I know what to expect at that point. And Maria has already put in the correct address for the campground. We've got a good heading. The stress of the day seems to have possibly, come to a conclusion. So we pull up, make a left into the campground, which it's a beautiful campground, by the way. Most of the roads are wide, and I say most because here in just a second you're going to see one that isn't wide enough. The only thing I'll say about this campground is when we make a left right here, you can see that the office building is to the front, but you've got campsites over to the left, you've got them to the right, and you've got them forward, and there's no sign that says where to bring your rig to. So we get checked in, we don't have any problems, we get back in the truck. Our campground is actually beyond the office. We make a left-hand turn, and this guy in this Ford is sticking out just enough in the road to where I've got to go around him. And if you'll look up here to the right, there's a table that's really close to the road, and there's some other things there that are going to be in the way for when we back the trailer in. The front's going to swing pretty wide, so we've got to get out, we've got to move people's tables and all the other stuff.